Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Inspire Mind podcast. Today, we are delighted to have with us the Canadian band, The Ones. They are here in Dubai to perform at the Expo 2020 Dubai and at the City Walk. And for those who don't know their music yet, listen to this.
I know that you've been getting tired, 'cause lately you've not been on fire. You're feeling yourself, but you're carved out of wood. It'll never get easy, but baby, it's gonna get good.
Hi, Geraldine,
Hello.
Phil, Andrew, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. Can you tell us in few words the story of your band?
The three of us met in a little fishing village in Trinity, Newfoundland, Labrador. We were doing summer stock theater, and we ended up having to be shoved together to do a song for one night for a performance nobody knew anything about. The director came in and said, I've sold out a show and I don't have anyone to perform in it. We were like, let's do this song, and I had words on my hand that day. And we did it for the evening, and there was something pretty magical that happened pretty instantly. And we kind of felt that our harmonies just melded together so well that we just kept doing it. And we ended up doing a show within the town until the director said, you can't do that anymore. And then we went to the next town, we did a show, and then we went to St. John's, which is the capital of the big city in Newfoundland. And we went there and we did a show, and then it kept blossoming and turning into this thing to this point that we were like, well, we need a name.
The name is a bit of a joke, actually. So back home, you'd say, it's an expression. So someone might say, oh, would you run over there and grab me that book? And you'd say, yeah, I'll do it not at once. So somebody who might be lying on the couch and is like, yeah, I'll get to it when I can, and which might not ever be.
Speaking of Canada being the second largest country in the world, there are 10 provinces and 3 territories. Is the music different across the country, and what makes it common across the board?
I would say rhythm. When we talk about the music of our First Nations and Indigenous people, I mean, it's based around, I would say, rhythm and the voice. And even with that, when we talk about the French parts of the country, that voice might not necessarily be there all the times in terms of, there's a lot of amount of tune playing, but it's always very lyrical and sung the way that stuff comes out, So I would personally, I think rhythm and voice.
Well, and even so, like, especially of course in Quebecois music, but not only there either. Like you'll have the feet that can provide the rhythm.
Yeah.
So even when there's no drums or no percussion at all, you make it yourself.
Exactly.
Right, you provide that sense of rhythm and that sense of drive to help propel the storytelling. And where we are so diverse across such a huge landmass, the desire to tell our stories from our corner of the country is so important. To help share our own stories and our own identity with the rest of the world, but even with just the rest of our fellow country people.
It's within the country, absolutely.
If I was alone and lost in the woods, would you come find me?
What have been your musical influences, and how would you describe your style, your music?
Perfectly Canadian.
I am Canadian.
Yeah, it's a wonderful melting pot of rock and roll and country and Irish traditional music and Newfoundland traditional music for that matter, which was largely derived from English and Irish and some Scottish folk music. A little bit of French in there, for good measure, traditional French music and all that. And the bottom line being, of course, that we all have different musical backgrounds that we kind of grew up with, musical tastes and whatnot, be it from our from parents or siblings or friends, whatever, and we all kind of brought those interests and those sensibilities kind of to the group, to the collective when we got together, and what brought us together was Newfoundland folk music.
It takes a lot to leave. It takes much more to stay.
Newfoundland is the 17th largest island in the world. It is in the Atlantic Ocean. It's abundant sea life is fed from the Labrador Current. It is
Where's the famous dish?
the famous dish would be codfish.
Nice.
Yeah, it's populated by people who would have come over from England and Ireland and lived along the coastline. So the interior of it is completely forested. The edges are rugged coastline and small dotted with small fishing communities. It is geographically, if you know where New York is, we're sort of northeast of that. And the closest, many places in our country are further away from Newfoundland than Newfoundland is to Ireland and England.
So you are here to perform at Expo 2020 Dubai. How do you feel about representing your country, Canada, here in UAE and to the rest of the world?
Excited.
It will be a cliche, but I'm going to say it. What an honor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope we do a good job. If not, we'll just keep sending more and more people.
Yeah.
That's just it.
That's it. It's hard to cover all of the types of music that come out of Canada. Because it's one of those things. If you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. So
Fortunately, we're not the only Canadians coming over here to represent. So it's not only on our shoulders. Yeah.
We will bring the hearts and minds of all other Canadians
That's what counts.
with us, and
Yes.
we definitely bring some rhythm.
There you go. This is what I was going to come say. Let's bring your heart.
That's right.
Can you tell our listeners how the artist's life looks like? And how is it to be on the road trips? How does that creation process work?
Maybe one of you guys can talk about it on the road. But at home, you try to set yourself up to have a day like everybody else who goes to work. Well, we get out with our cats, so around 7:30ish, and then you start writing and thinking about music, playing music, just enveloping yourself in music, and feeling as much as you can in your to be inspired by all the music that you can get to listen to. And then you go down into a studio that Phil and I have built, well, mostly Phil, and dreamed of in our basement. And then you just put it down, and then you play with it, and you just move on.
The road tends to come down to, it can't just be about playing music that you have written around the immediate people that you've written that music around, the people in your hometown, because what comes through you and what you've seen from the rest of the world and what you've been influenced by, those people might not necessarily live right next to you. So we've always felt that the two real important things about touring, or two of the really important things, is to go out there and find your audience. It's just to pick up energies, to pick up things from other people, and also to feed your own heart by just seeing what else is out there in the world. And I think sometimes there's a strange balance with that, because it's, when you're traveling, it's just our little group, our little insular thing in a little van or in our little seats in the plane, and, backstage, it's all a very tight kind of small thing. And what we're looking for is the ability to take that and broaden it out to as wide as we can all over the world and go as far as we can. And then to take all those experiences and then suck them down into a very small little capsule with the three of us and try and figure out what that means and how that becomes another song. And then you go out and do it again, and you keep sort of shrinking and expanding this little bubble, small and creative, and then big to share. And as it, it's this little tiny bubble that three of us are in. But then as that bubble expands, the three of us are at the middle of it, and everybody sort of gets inside of it, as it goes bigger and bigger and bigger.
This is coming from somewhere, from an experience, coming from these stories you're telling us.
Yeah.
And I feel like asking you a question now about
Okay.
you. Your journey in Dubai. You are in this new journey, you're observing, you're picking up a lot. Do you think there will be a song?
Of course there will. It's impossible.
Just-
It's impossible
awesome.
to experience this stuff
Awesome.
and not have it
Yes.
make its way in. And it might not be a lyric, but it might be a tune or a little something that you've seen, or a color of something, or the way somebody made you feel, or the way a particular sunset was. And your words might come out and people might think, oh, they're writing about the Newfoundland coastline. It's like, no, that was a sunset over the desert.
Exactly.
That's what we're describing, And
I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to hear it.
can't
We'll
wait
do
to
a
write
video
it.
Yes. What have been the obstacles and challenges you have faced to make a living from your music?
There are a handful of highly successful musicians or artists in general in the world who make like a fantastic living. There are thousands and thousands and thousands more who just kind of get by, on different levels. And we're very much amongst them. But the key is to just, first of all, don't set. I mean, dream big and all that is a nice thing to do, but be careful where you set those bars for yourself and those goals to in a sense as well, because it's not crucial that you become this big star. What's crucial is that you find your place in the world, and you find something that you love to do, and you figure out a way to make a living doing that thing that you love to do. So what we've managed to do over the years is not so much set our sights on, writing that big hit song or packing the stadiums all over the world. Now, what we've tried to set out for ourselves is the ability to make a comfortable living doing what we love to do and doing it on our terms.
When you do things out of your heart and passion and coming from your values and principles, you don't feel tired.
No.
You don't feel that, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. You keep fueling more energy.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know what?
right?
I want to connect to that because I have tip number 2. You need to learn about travel and taxes and finances and how to become,
Talk to everybody.
adept with technology and everything. If you need to have a support system of 10 or 12 people starting off, and those people need to be paid and they need to, it becomes much more
harder.
difficult. It's hard to do. So we write together and we play music together, but Andrew is in charge of logistics. Geraldine is in charge of finances. We have our own little things that we do. Extended skill set, and really work on those and become useful at a whole lot of things, and see how you can help somebody else with their travel and their career, and maybe they'll help you, and just to make it much more of a community.
Don't stay isolated.
Yeah.
Right? Build a network, support network.
Be community oriented. Truly be a global citizen.
Yeah.
Be a part of this world and be as willing to accept help as you are to give it.
I lost it all somehow.
Well, what are you gonna do now? Keep dreaming that you can. Go back where you began.
Being famous was a goal from the get-go? Did you guys
No.
knew that?
No.
Okay, was this just like a little thing on the side and boom?
Do you know, when I was a kid, I used to dream about being famous. I can't lie. I used to think I would be a country music singer, and I'd be like, Dolly Parton, and I'd get up to sing, and everybody would listen to me, and I was like, oh, and then I'll be amazing, and all that stuff. But then you get closer to it, and then all of a sudden you recognize who you are, and you don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
You don't need it anymore. It's not who you are. That's just an idea of who you are.
And I think if you're going at it for that, you are definitely going to be disappointed. If you're going at it for any other reason, you're probably going to find some love and joy and happiness.
I want to ask you a question. Now that you're coming to City Walk and you see the Maple Leaf, the Canadian University, Dubai. How was the feeling as Canadians?
Very cool.
Really, yeah, a lot
I
of
wish
pride.
we had that opportunity when I was going through.
Yeah.
It's comforting. It's comforting.
Yeah.
I wanted to contact people from home right away. Like the first thought was I wanted to show them what I'm seeing in
Feel
this place.
a little piece of a land in Canadian
Absolutely.
land here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is home. I feel home. Yeah. How about you, Andrew?
It's like a beautiful little lifeline, from a little tether,
Yes.
just to remind you, you're not so far away.
No, you're not so
home's
far
not
away.
home's not so far away.
No,
right?
not at all.
Yeah, it's always with you.
Thank you so much. This has been an amazing meeting with you. I don't want to end it.
I feel the same
we'll
way.
stay.
We
We'll
do
just
this.
cancel everything.
We have a lot of chats with people,
This has
and
been-
sometimes someone asks us a question without even really looking at us, and then I know people are busy and stuff, and they're flipping through papers or they're on their computer, or you can tell that we're maybe you engage and you smile, and it is such a warm
Beautiful.
gift. Thank you for
Thank
caring
you.
and
Thank
engaging
you.
with us.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
It
it.
matters.
Thank you for
I
your heart.
appreciate it. Thanks everyone for listening to the show today. We hope the ones have inspired you as much as they inspired us.